Now also ahead, Stephen Colbert's final curtain call, his touching message to America, and the president's, shall we say, sad response. FCC Commissioner Ana Gomez is at the table soon. But we begin tonight with breaking news. Donald Trump on the campaign trail, and he's making some rambling, near incoherent statements at times, trying and struggling to distract voters from reality. At a rally for swing district Republican Mike Lawler in New York today, Trump tried to paint a picture of a booming economy, but he could barely keep focus, and he kept reverting to scare tactics in another unhinged attempt to win back voters.
We had the greatest, most successful economy in history. And by the way, we're blowing it away in this term. The Democrats voted for open borders. They voted for open borders. And if they get in, you're going to have open borders again. You're going to have millions of people coming in. When we talk about men playing in women's sports, I'll tell you how ridiculous it is.
It's like the greatest hits of Red Meat for the Base. What is ridiculous, folks, are sky-high gas prices. And that has nothing to do with immigrants or trans people, really. Trump's war of choice in Iran has triggered the highest gas prices in nearly 4 years. And this busy Memorial Day weekend, the national average for a regular gallon of gas, just a regular gallon, stands at $4.55. That's more than $1.50 higher than the start of Trump's war. And Americans, they are blaming the President of the United States. Don't take my word for it. A new Quinnipiac poll finds 55% of registered voters blame him, quote, a lot, for the pain at the pump. Another 17% blame him some. That same poll finds 58% of Americans disapprove of Trump's overall job performance. And a new Fox poll finds 61% of voters, they disapprove. That's a new high for the Fox poll, folks. I mean, you can't spin away the people's lived reality, but I was really, really struck by just Trump's unhinged rant, and he would call it the weave, I would call it concerning. And he kept talking about trans people to the point where I text in our group chat, I'm like, Luke, is this an issue in Mike Lawler's district? Is this what the people are looking for? Because he spent about 10 minutes on it.
It's a swing district. Interestingly enough, the guy who Lawler beat in 2022 is New York's first openly gay congressman. So it's not one that would seemingly be obsessed with this issue. But when they don't have anything to run on for the economy, when the economy is going down, when gas is at close to $5 a gallon, when the price of everything is going up in America, where do they go? The comfortable place, the culture war. And that is going to be likely what we're going to see going into the midterms. It's going to be talking about border. It's going to be talking about LGBTQ issues. And what I'm very surprised by, though, is that something that wins in a swing district like this? Yeah, that might help you in one of those ones that are like R+4, R+5, R+7s, where the wave, a blue wave, could perhaps dislodge some of those members. But in a swing one like this, it really feels like you're grasping at straws.
The whole effort is one big grasp at straws. Trump is delusional, living in his la-la land where he thinks this is 1957 and, you know, there are white picket fences all over America and people, you know, are going to realize just how good the pain is for them. And that's just not reality. The reality is what you laid out, Simone, coming into this conversation. Those percentages related to the price of gas, the price of goods and services, the price to feed your family, et cetera. And right now, Donald Trump is hemorrhaging voters. He's hemorrhaging the American people. And to your point, Luke, he believes that if he scares them with immigrants and trans people, very much as they tried to scare white women in suburban America back in 2024 and how they tried to scare, you know, folks back in the 2020 election with more immigrants coming across the border, that culture piece just doesn't land the way it used to.
I mean, people aren't stupid. It's very clear to them that the gas started going up when the war with Iran started. They're hearing about it on the news every single day.
Connect the dots.
Connect the dots,
sacrifice
folks.
For, right? Sacrifice for what? We don't know what the war is about. We don't know why we're at war. What are we supposed to sacrifice for? Because you have a deal with luxury business partners from Saudi and Israel? I mean, what is it about?
Clock it, Luke. Clock it.
Trying to for the rich people.
You know, maybe some other folks can answer these questions because I'm at a loss. Let's bring in MS NOW political analyst Anthony Coley. He served as the Justice Department's Director of Public Affairs during the Biden administration. Also with us is MSNOW political analyst Matthew Bartlett, a former Trump State Department appointee. Can I just say that Anthony Coley has worked on a lot, you know, he looks young like me, but he's very seasoned, and he has worked on a lot of races. Anybody remember Al Gore?
Nobody looks as young as I do. let's put a period on that. Matt, I want to throw this to you as an opening salvo, because you take what my colleagues have said, laid on the table. I saw your head nodding over there in the corner as we were talking, because you understand, as I understand, inside the tent, what the realities are and how base Republicans at the end of the day, still are concerned about the same things everyone else around them is concerned about, and that is the price of fill in the blank. Right? I want to put up for you real quick, Quinnipiac, a university poll of registered voters cutting back on spending. Those voters who are cutting back on spending, 36% are cutting back on driving, 43% cutting back on groceries, 54% cutting back on dining out, 48% cutting back on vacation plans. That's real. Those numbers reflect that people are changing their behavior because of Donald Trump's war and Donald Trump's refusal, in their minds, I think more and more growing, to do anything substantive about it.
I mean, the short answer, yes. You know, again, we're now talking about, you know, pain at the pump, pain at the grocery store.
Don't talk to her about beef.
Beef is up. Is it still 16%? 16%.
And the president is going out there and talking about, you know, the golden age. And there's so much pain and angst among the American public. He's out there playing the greatest hits for the base, and they just don't hit like they used to when gas is $4.50 a gallon. Those are the best political signs that you can make in America right now. He has lost all credibility on the economy, full stop. And Luke, you know, I talk to Republicans every single day. And Michael, you know, we were talking this week. If you're a Republican, why are you going out to vote in the midterms? If you're a regular Republican, you're probably losing faith in a lot of this craziness. And even if you're a MAGA-based Republican, what are you out there voting for right now? It is just pure partisanship, and I'm not sure that is a pathway to election results. Revenge over results is a disastrous plan as we head into the midterms.
That's a good point.
Anthony, it seems that the president, despite the fact that we're almost 2 years away from it, cannot stop thinking about Joe Biden. I want to play a clip from him today, just talking about Joe Biden once again. Here we are in May of 2026.
You had one candidate named Sleepy Joe Biden. What's a better name? Sleepy Joe Biden or Crooked Joe Biden? Ready? Who likes Sleepy Joe Biden? Who likes Crooked Joe Biden? About pretty similar. They're both pretty good.
Been alleged that the president has nodded off occasionally in some recent meetings in the Oval Office and other places. Oh, look at him there. I think he's in the cabinet room.
He looks asleep to me. I don't know. He looks asleep.
Out like a light.
You know, I'm thinking this week, Drake released some albums going back to Kendrick Lamar, which were about 2 years too late. And I'm thinking, is Donald Trump pulling a Drake right here? Are we 2 years past? Are we going that far back? What are you doing here? But I bring it up because we talk about the greatest hits.
Yeah.
What in the world, if you're a Democrat, you see this, you go, this is a gift. If he's still obsessed about Joe Biden is yesterday. Right? Bill Clinton, bridge to the future. The future is your prices are going up. I mean, this is not a winning message for him.
It is not. But listen, let me tell you before I go off on my riff. I am not a Drake fan, but do not insult Drake like that. Do not compare him to Donald Trump. So listen, so we have what we just saw on the screen, right? We saw him attacking Joe Biden, right? He's attacking Iran. He's attacking the Pope. He's trying to build a ballroom. He is going after Jim Comey, right? He's doing all of these things. Now he's trying to pay convicted felons who beat the hell out of cops on January 6th. My point of bringing all of this up, Luke, is that he is focused on everything else but what people care about, what they elected him to do. And Simone opened this segment talking about polling. The most fascinating data in this New York Times Siena poll was not just the top line about how bad his favorability rating is, but if you look in the crosstabs. If you dig under the hood, you see he is hemorrhaging support amongst his base, amongst registered Republicans. I look specifically, I wanted to see what white voters without a high school degree, what they think about this economy. 72% view this economy negatively. And my last point on this is, if you look back, we've been in a midterm with Donald Trump before. 2018, the numbers that I just cited were not as bad as they were then, and in that race, Trump and his party lost 40 seats. That's why that's why the Republicans you guys are talking about on the Hill, that's why they are sounding the alarm, because the numbers are truly awful.
I mean, if we could just put a face to some of what we're talking about in terms of the numbers. The Wall Street Journal, you know, I'm from Nebraska, y'all, so I care a lot about the beef, okay, and how much it costs. Shout out to Omaha Steaks. They had a piece in the Wall Street Journal yesterday. Caitlin Green pictured 30 people in her backyard for Memorial Day weekend. Then she priced the ground beef. A pound of it runs close to $8 where she shops, 2 times what she remembers paying a couple years ago, and more than she could stomach for feeding a crowd. I just feel awkward inviting so many people to my home and being like, I'm going to host you, but also can you pay me so that I can afford to have you over? Said Green, a 25-year-old real estate agent in Logan, Utah. That is real.
Bring your own beef.
Come on, I mean, or we're taking up a collection. It's like, yeah. You know, this should not be happening in the United States of America, and definitely not when apparently the government has $1.776 billion for people that I would just call the insurrectionists that took up arms against the government on January 6th. This split screen is terrible.
Yeah, there's a lot there. Let me just say, January 6th, I resigned January 6th, and I take no pride out of that. This town can be messy, lines can get blurred, but you better have a North Star, let me tell you, because it makes the hard things real easy sometimes. And this acting attorney general is only acting for the president, and it is an absolute disgrace. But even beyond that, you call back home, you talk to people, people are pissy right now, and they have every right to be, from gas to groceries. The American public want answers on the economy, on the war, and the president keeps talking about the arch and the ballroom. Right. We're heading into the 2026 midterms, and the president is obsessed with 2020 and Joe Biden. This is a recipe for disaster. As a Republican, this is just indefensible. I'm not sure what to say other than the truth, which is that this is absolutely unacceptable leadership here in America with legitimate issues at play here. So again, not being partisan, this is just called honesty.
Yeah, you know, and let's just be honest about the fact that, you know, you can think you're patriotic by stealing $1,776,000,000 and thinking that you're somehow tax dollars, right? Somehow you are patriotic because it's 1776, right? You know, the thing about all of that for me, Anthony, is the fact that coupled with everything that we talked about and how people are kind of reading the tea leaves and the crosstabs are telling us what they really think believe beneath the surface, you're still left with this really nasty feeling in your gut that in the midst of all of the stuff I'm going through, this man is stealing $1 billion from me. Right. It would be like if you had your employer say to you, Anthony, every 2 weeks when you get paid, I'm taking out, I don't know, 30% of your paycheck, just for me and my family. And by the way, I'm going to give a little extra to my friends in the boardroom and some of my friends in the company across the street, because we kind of work together and we think this is for your benefit. Because there's some people out there that we want to take care of. So we're going to take that 30% out of your paycheck every 2 weeks. Right. How would you feel about that? And I think that's where they realize, wait a minute, hold up, you're doing what? Right. On top of everything else?
That's my point. And I think this is what we were talking about earlier, right? If you are a Republican who is trying to win, if you were up in 5.5 months, there are 2 things that win elections, right? I'm looking at the campaign operative over here. You have to have an authentic message that resonates and that persuades. And then you have to have a strong ground game. And those two things are connected. The message, you can't talk about a ground game if people don't believe authentically in what you are selling and what you're telling them. And so the clip that you read about the lady with the ground beef, like, that's why they are not going to be able to get over the line on election day if all is equal. That's what.
It's also why the gerrymandering has become so intense.
Right.
Because
that's the ball game.
That is.
That's the ball game.
Because on a free and fair election with the maps the way they are, it's.
Right. Connect the dots.
Amen.
Anthony Coley and Matthew Bartlett, thank you both for kicking us off today.
Thank you.
Stay with us, folks. We will be discussing the president's very erratic behavior throughout the show tonight because if it was Joe Biden, it would be leading everybody's show. But who am I to say? In the next hour, there's breaking news about Trump's slush fund and the growing number of lawsuits trying to block it. But up next, Tulsi Gabbard has just resigned as Director of National Intelligence. New details about her exit are coming in as we speak. Keep it right here. You're watching The Weeknight.
Breaking tonight, Tulsi Gabbard is resigning as Director of National Intelligence. Gabbard says she's leaving to support her husband as he battles a rare form of cancer. She's the fourth high-profile departure from the Trump administration and the fourth woman to step down in his second term. As DNI, however, Gabbard prioritized the president's grievances ahead of America's intelligence needs, especially when it came to supporting Trump's lies about the 2020 election. Gabbard took part in a raid on an election facility in Fulton County, Georgia, where she basically accused former President Barack Obama of working to subvert Trump's 2016 victory as well, and lied about the intelligence community taking part in a vast conspiracy to impeach Trump. Let's get into it with Admiral John Kirby. He is the former White House National Security Council coordinator and an MSNOW National Security and Intelligence analyst.
Admiral Kirby, thank you so much for coming on the show. Tulsi Gabbard is somebody who Hillary Clinton once accused of being a Russian asset, somebody who my sources in the intelligence community always stressed to me they were very apprehensive about her being in this role, given not only her beliefs, but also different people that she's spoken to around the world over the years, whether it's going to Syria to see Bashar al-Assad, whether it's connections with Russia, other places, et cetera. Now that she's gone, how much damage do you think she was able to do in the role, and what does it mean for the role going forward? Do you think there's a possibility that Trump could put someone in there that's competent?
Well, first of all, I want to express my deepest thoughts and well wishes for her husband, Abraham, as he battles this rare form of cancer. I mean, that's I can't imagine the stress and the strain that's putting on them. And I think her being willing and wanting to step aside so that she can spend more time with him, I think that's commendable. I've noted, as you have, many concerns about her leadership and, frankly, some of her role in various intelligence assessments. And so I think what I hope would happen is that the president will find a replacement that is willing to speak truth to power, willing to keep the politics out of intelligence, and to support the great professionals in the intelligence community. The DNI, unlike the CIA director, that individual owns basically the responsibilities for all the intelligence communities combined and integrating their tools, making sure that their analysis is done well and that it's presented to national leaders in a cohesive, coherent way. And so this is a very, very big job, and I do hope that the president finds somebody that can again follow that more traditional model in terms of leadership, because it's critical. I'll say one other thing though, and that is that the intel professionals that work under the DNI and all those agencies, the career professionals, they're superb. And they don't worry about the politics. And they really do try to do a good job in doing all the necessary rigorous analysis that needs to be done so that the political leadership of the country can make the best decisions they can. And the acting now, Mr. Lucas, Aaron Lucas, is that kind of professional. He is a careerist. He's 20 years in the CIA. He's been involved in lots of critical national security issues over his career. And I think that whether he gets the job or not, of course, is up to President Trump. But I hope that at least in the interim, that he'll have the support of the administration as he tries to lead these agencies.
You know, I think we all join you, Kirby, in sending our thoughts and prayers and well wishes to Tulsi Gabbard and her husband. I would not, I said this earlier when we found out, I wouldn't wish this on anyone. And two things can be true. You could disagree with Tulsi Gabbard and the role that she has carried out as the DNI, of which I do, but also have empathy and sympathy. I know sometimes the president doesn't have it, but we do have it right here. Okay, let's talk about, because I take your point about the career folks, and you know, I having worked at the White House, the career people are very important. They keep you on the straight and narrow. When the political appointees want to go left, and we're really supposed to be going right, it's the career folks that readjust. I am concerned about the upcoming election because in the lead up to this election, if we remember, ballots were seized in Fulton County and other places across this country. I do believe that HSI went and also got ballots that were voluntarily turned over in Puerto Rico. These are all from the 2020 election. We've heard a lot about the potential of foreign interference, of claiming that Venezuela or other countries interfered in the 2020 election, going way back in the Wayback Machine, and what kind of claims that could be made about this upcoming election. The DNI has an important role to play in that. If the CIA folks won't stand up to the president, do you think that the DNI could make a difference over the next 6 months for the kind of conversation that's being had around this election?
Oh, yes, ma'am. 1,000%. Couldn't agree more with you. Again, remember the DNI is the integrator. That individual doesn't own a specific agency, but they're responsible for integrating the efforts of 18 different intelligence communities and presenting to the President of the United States his or her best conclusions about what that intelligence shows. And there's no question that as we head to another election here in the midterms, and then of course in 28, that there's going to be foreign governments. We can name them. You named a couple yourself. We know who they are, who are going to want to interfere and try to affect the outcome of our elections here at home. And so it's absolutely vital that, number one, the intelligence community has the leash to go get the information and analyze it and present it in an honest way. And that, number two, that the DNI, whoever that person is, also has the authority, the credibility inside the intelligence community, but inside the Oval Office, to go to the President of the United States and say, Mr. President, this is what we're seeing in the international picture. These are the threats to election security and safety, and we want you to take it seriously. So whoever this person is, whoever comes in, it is a critical position, particularly as you rightly pointed out, Simone, as we head into elections, that this person has, again, that credibility and that authority and is not afraid to speak truth to power, whatever that truth is, whatever the intelligence says, wherever the direction's pointing, that person can go into the Oval Office and be honest about it.
So with all due respect to you and to my colleague who also served in the White House.
Whenever he says this, it's like
the lead up.
You know, it's like the wind up to like pow.
I'm waiting for the blow. Go ahead, lay it on me, Michael.
No. First thing, I'm loving your tie. First thing, that's the first thing. Just get that off the table. But John, Simone, Luke, I think Luke is probably going to be landing a little bit more where I am on this one. There is nothing about Donald Trump that would ever indicate and has not indicated that he would pick someone as you've just described. Because that individual who has the power to look him in the eye and tell him no is not in his orbit. And that is the fundamental problem that we face in national intelligence, is that he wants someone very much like he wants at the Fed very much like he wants on Capitol Hill with members of his party in Congress, very much like he wants on the Supreme Court, very much like he wants with the billionaires who hang around him, starting with Elon Musk. Kiss the bottom of my foot, and then I'll throw you a bone, and then if you chew the bone the wrong way and I don't like it, you're gone. So that's what he does. And so my question then, I'm living in the world, not that you're not, I don't want to infer that you're not, but I'm living in the world where what you just described does not happen. There is no John Kirby to put in that job, all right? So what does that and will it say to our allies who are going to be looking over the next few months as we're now engaged in Iran? We know what's about to happen in Ukraine and Russia and what they're doing there as we head into the summer. Europe, the European continent's on edge. How did that? I mean, we don't have that person who can actually deliver the kind of intelligence that reflects exactly what's happening in the world.
Should he choose somebody like as you described, Michael, and I recognize where you're coming from and the proclivities here. Should that be the avenue he takes? What it will do is reinforce for our allies that the United States is not interested in being a real global leader, that we're not willing to assume the mantle of responsibility that so many other countries depend on us to exert and to influence. And it will just further dissolve American leadership on the world stage. It's already been dissolving. And I think it'll just further that forward. I was in Europe a few weeks ago, and I had a chance to meet with some senior NATO officers and some defense officials from a Western European country. And I can tell you that what struck me as I came away from these meetings is they're already walking away from us, Michael. They're already counting on the United States not being there. And as they think about NATO and what the alliance needs to look like, what missions it needs to conduct, what capabilities it needs to possess, they're already thinking past the United States. And that's really sad. I mean, I grew up doing, conducting NATO operations since I was a young officer, and to see that really bothered me. But I think they're already walking away because they know we are walking away from our responsibilities. And so should he not want a DNI to be an honest broker, a tough character, and willing to lay it on the line and be honest with him, to lead the intelligence community who really wants to be led in a non-political way, he's doing himself a disservice. He'll do the country a disservice. And quite frankly, he'll just, again, reinforce for our allies that the United States is not a country that they can depend on anymore. And I never thought I'd say that, but I think that's where things are heading.
All right, John Kirby, we thank you, sir, and appreciate your insights very much.
Thanks for having me on and implementing my tie.
You got it. After the break, folks, Stephen Colbert went out on top as he said goodbye to The Late Show. FCC Commissioner Ana Gomez will join the table to discuss the media crisis unfolding before us and how the Trump administration is at the center of so much of the chaos. Only on the weeknight.